in this systemic view based on the series Another Self, Ronél and Sonja just take a look at the different characters and their journey from the difficulties they were facing in life, going through what we call a family constellation, what happens after, and how their life shapes from there forward into where they are now. So this is just a journey on each character, so it's easy to understand the series on Another Self. I hope you enjoy this. Thank you.
Hi, Ronél. I'm so excited. We finally get together for what we are planning to do with Another Self. So what people are finding that it's quite difficult to get into the story. And I was at the function last night and people said they couldn't get past the second part of the series, the second episode, because it was just so confusing and not knowing what they were looking for. It was quite difficult for them to actually follow the series. So that's why we decided to do this, you and I getting together to do character for character, just to bring a little bit of cohesion into it. So thank you for doing this with me, because I think it's easier to understand when we're not having a picture here, a picture there, and your mind has to try and put it all together. So thank you.
Thank you for having me, Sonja. And yeah, I've watched it a couple of times. And I must say the first time there is a lot of jumping around. But when it comes to the actual expansion or constellation part, you do click into it. And yes, it would be good to discuss each character and their part in the healing. Cool. I'm excited.
So am I. Okay. So the first character in the movie that actually goes out and tries to find out more about it is Sevgi. Now, I'll just give the background to it. So Sevgi, Ada, and Layla are three friends from college or university times. So they were students together and they had a lifelong friendship. And the importance of this friendship comes through quite nicely in this movie, or in the series rather. So, and that is really where we see how friends can support one another through difficult times. But as friends, they also have the freedom just to be honest with each other, be straight with each other, and know that even with the honesty that sometimes hurts when we speak it, the friendship is so strong, the friendship is so intact. So it's really a beautiful part of the female friendship cycle and circle that is going on there. Then we also have the male friendships, but that's a lot more difficult to understand from our female perspective.
Mm.
So, and the way men deal with issues is so different to the way women deal with issues. We sort of, as women, we want to get in there and we want to fix it. And especially Ada is one who just wants to fix it all the time. And men are like, they want to more support one another. So they support one another. Come and do this. Let's do this. Let's try that. So they are not as, shall I say, in your face as the women are with each other. They are much more in a supportive role to each other, which is so in the male system. So what I love about it is that the female system and the male system is so super different, and to understand the differences in the male and the female system. So that is something that I just wanted to give in here as an introduction.
Yeah. So for me, the dynamic of the three friends and how they care for Sevgi and that they want her to heal. But in her healing, their healing comes. And not just their healing, the male side of the friendship also heals, and how this actually expands to everybody around them, and how important the healing is that happens in the field for everybody. So it wasn't just for one person, it was for everybody. So yes,
Yes.
they all went on their little roller coaster ride.
So what one person does has an effect on everybody else. And that is absolutely also, we're going to talk about that dynamic as we go along. Right. So if you want to take us into Sevgi, she's in hospital. She's been diagnosed with cancer. Her friend Ada is very much involved in the treatment of the cancer, and then you take it from there.
Okay. So Sevgi is busy with cancer treatment, and Ada gets the news that the treatment wasn't successful, or it's not helping. And she gives the news to Sevgi, and Sevgi is not happy about that and almost loses hope. But then in the lift on her way out, she sees this little boy, and he tells her, the mother tells her that she's been healed. He's been healed miraculously by doing this treatment, alternative treatment. And at that stage, she's pretty much so desperate to try anything to heal herself, because she wants to live. She wants to have a relationship. She wants to get married. And because of that drive, she takes the number and then contacts Simon to make an appointment to go and see him. And she gets Layla involved. Layla's got a very topsy-turvy lifestyle, also uncertainty, very volatile, but the loving, kind, happy, bubbly type of person that she is, she agrees to take her to this guy to go and help her. Oda is obviously upset, stops them and says, no, you can't do this, but eventually gets pulled into it and ends up going with them to this place to go and help her heal. So that's where their journey starts. And they then make a pact on the way to work on the healing and set the intention for her to get better. But they each set intentions for themselves as well, not knowing what they're actually setting up. And I'm getting goosebumps right now because that intention is so it is so particular for what they were doing. And they say the journey we're forced to take changes all our lives. And once they do that intention, they have no idea what they actually set in motion.
Let's just look at the intentions that they set up. So Sevgi wants to find love. That's her big intention. So,
and to get better.
Well, the thing to get better is so that she has more life, so that she can get love. So it's about having the life that she wants to live in the future with somebody who falls in love with her, that she can fall in love with and have a relationship. She's the only one of the three friends at this point who does not have a relationship.
Yes. Yeah.
Layla wants bigger boobs. So she is like this really frivolous, very vain girl, and all she wants is bigger boobs. So she doesn't really ask for much, does she?
No.
Then Ada wants to actually further her career, and she wants to go to Belgium to get that place where she can do more research. So that's Ada's intention. So Ada's intention is very much focused on her medical career And so that's where their intention is set. And then Sevgi meets Zaman.
Yes. Obviously, she's skeptical at first. She doesn't understand what she's doing there, but she's willing to try this way. Zaman is eating a pomegranate, which is very sick to Sevgi's past. Because when her father got murdered in front of her, he gave her the pomegranate. And these are the synchronicities that start showing up in the universe to show you that you're on the right path. And she looks at this and she goes, okay, that's weird. But anyway, whatever. And he starts talking to her and he asks her the question, can you thank the cancer? Which obviously she can't do.
What? Very provocative question.
Yeah. But his questioning is very particular and he understands exactly what he's doing. And that's where the healing starts. She wasn't even in the field yet, and that healing started already. And he comes around and he touches her hand and he asks her, can you let go of this? And that is the important question, because that is the why. Are you here to heal yourself? Do you want to let go of this disease? Because there's no point doing this treatment if you're not prepared to get healed. So that's the why. Yes, you are here for the cancer, but are you able to thank it? And are you able to let go of it? And that is something that she's like, whoa, what is this guy on about? And she's very skeptical. He says, follow me. But then she goes into the field and the constellation happens, or the expansion happens.
Let's go before that, because she wants a miraculous cure.
Yes.
And he says, I'm not here to give you a miraculous cure.
Yes. It's not a cure.
I'm here to help you. If we look at the question, can you let go of the cancer?
Yes.
Can you let go of the anger? And
yes.
that is really the key question, is, can you thank the cancer? And that, can you thank the cancer, is very provocative, because what it says is, if you cannot thank the cancer for having shown up in your life, you are not ready for the healing. And that's why that question is so important. So he actually sets an intention different to hers. Her intention is she wants miraculous healing, where he says, no, I cannot offer you that. And he gives a different intention. He gives her an intention to thank the cancer. But obviously, that's where she has the struggle. But it's okay. It's nothing. It is, so for him, he set an intention. If she can get equal with the cancer, then there is something that can, a movement that can happen for her, which is in a good way possible.
Yeah.
And I think that is very important for our listeners to become aware of, that that he did encourage her to carry on with a medical treatment.
Yes.
So that he was not going to take responsibility for the medical side that needed to happen for the cancer, but he was willing to show her a different side of what is the core cause of this cancer. And that's how he actually takes her into what he's got, his space, where he's got a few people waiting in a group, and he's got this beautiful arena where he can do the constellation, which he sets up as a field. And that is where she then enters with him. And that's when he then sets up the constellation.
Yes. The thing is not to give the client the false hopes that this is going to trump the medical field, and that this is entirely up to them if they want to heal, because it's a spiritual healing. It's not a medical healing. Very important for them to understand that. And yeah, they do go into the field, and the characters, the representative starts taking on what they represent, her first as the client. And she immediately starts getting emotional because she can feel the healing in the field already. Within the field, it shows that her father obviously got murdered, and she was carrying all the responsibilities for her mom because the mother placed her into the position of the father. And Sevgi then realizes that she was carrying the burden all her life.
So the whole series starts off with that shooting where Sevgi is a little girl with her father, and it is her birthday on that day, and that's quite significant. Yeah. It's her birthday that day, yes. And her father is shot in front of her, and yes. He is, absolutely heartbroken about that. And her mother is also there, but her mother doesn't seem to have the same grief as she has. And Zaman, as a facilitator, notes this. And he sees that something is a little bit odd here. And, but the healing sentences that are spoken are so key. Yeah. Because it is about, first of all, the representatives show what is happening or have a physical response to being in the field. And then we can relate it to that very first scene. And the healing sentences that come up are that she needs to say, I'm just your daughter. And I'm now dropping this burden I've been carrying for you all these years. Because she has, from a little girl, felt responsible almost for his death because it was her birthday. Yeah. And this man comes and murders her father. And she can't take responsibility for that. But she also has a super anger because of that.
And she also says, I wish it was me.
And she also says, I wish it was me. But the sentence, I'm just your daughter, I'm dropping the burden, is spoken to the mother. Because the mother cannot do the grieving, so she thinks, I need to pick up, my mother can't handle this, so I'm going to be the big one here. I'm going to carry the burden. And she needs to release herself from her mother, not from her father. This is the very interesting part. These words are spoken to the mother. And telling the mother, this is too much for me. And we see this in constellations when a mother doesn't cope or a father doesn't cope. The child feels they have to step in and do the coping for the parent. And it becomes a big burden for a child. Because the child is always only the little one. And her whole life is built up on, I need to keep my mother strong, but she also sets an intention as the 5-year-old that she will right the wrong that happened there. Yes. And she chooses to become an attorney. So that we see her choice to become an attorney is actually because of her experience as a 5-year-old.
And being an attorney, she's always fighting the same battle over and over and over, which re-ingrains the whole trauma all the time, because she does her job with great passion. And within that, it also is part of causing that disease.
Because of the work we do and because of what we do. And we sort of, in the field that we work in, liver is the seat of anger, and so the liver cancer makes sense from that point. But her life decisions are very, very real in this instance, as being the support structure for her mother, and then also righting the wrong as an attorney. So those are the big life decisions she subconsciously makes as a 5-year-old.
Yes. Yeah. To fight for others.
To fight for the rights, yes.
Yeah, fight for the rights of others that can't do that.
Yes.
So yeah, she then the father is laying on the ground, and obviously at this point she's breaking down, watching this whole thing playing out, and she's crying because obviously the healing is now happening, because she can now see that she's been carrying this burden all this time. And within the healing sentences, the change happens within her. Then when they look at the father, he makes her look at the father, and the father says stuff back to her. The healing sentence came back is, the best thing you can do for me is live your life in honor of me. Do not do do not choose death, because isn't cancer a death sentence? And her promise to fight this crime, and also to revenge whatever happened, and also the sentence, I wish it was me.
Yes.
That's a life-destroying pattern. So the father then gives her the permission to carry on with her life, to choose life, to enjoy it, and then also to open yourself up to love, which is something she could never do. And I will always be with you to live your life in absolute, the fullest, is what is the healing sentences that the dad gives to her.
Yes. So we have the one where she has to separate herself from the mother, where she has to say, I'm now putting down the burden. And the other one where the father says, my wish for you is to live your life forward fully and completely. And that is so absolutely beautiful. And when we fast forward, and I'm going to fast forward very quickly and then come back. The fast forward is where she then, at her next birthday, has a birthday party for the first time in her life to celebrate her life. And her whole birthday party is with the theme of, I'm celebrating my life fully. So she does take that. So that was a quick fast forward, but we're going to go back to the constellation.
And she didn't even want to blow out the candles.
She said, no, I'm not going to blow out my candles.
I'm not blowing out the candles. Yes. Yeah, and yes, that's where the expansion comes to a point where Zaman picks up that there is a secret.
Yes.
And he stops. He stops the expansion there because the healing that had to happen happened, but the secret is not to be revealed. It's not for him to reveal. The field will reveal the secret.
Finds out that something is a secret because the mother can't touch the husband.
Yes.
That's how he identifies that there is more. But he also identifies that the mother holds the secret.
Yes. And Sevgi then steps away as the representative and says that there's something missing.
Yes.
There's something missing, and then he stops it just there because he didn't want to go further than that.
And so the secret is not revealed, but he gives Sevgi some pointers. And one of the pointers he gives her is to not talk about what she has experienced for at least a month. And I think that is a really good pointer because he wants her to sit and integrate the experiences that she has experienced so that she does not, share it with anybody else for that whole month. Yes. And so people ask her what happened, and she says, no, I'm not going to tell her. I'm not going to tell you. This is, I need to just work through this. Mm. And the friends obviously are very curious. But then we see a month later when the friends come and visit, she is happy. Life has taken a turn for her. She looks healthy. She is now a lot more free, basically, from the cancer. She appears healthy, yet she needs to go for another test. And the cancer has gone into remission, but it is advised that she carries on with the cancer treatment.
Yes.
But on a much less a base, not as vicious as was before. And so there is great joy in the fact that her cancer has sort of gone into remission. And she then sort of goes along her life further. But we also see that she stops taking the medication. The mother wants to keep giving her the medication, and she's like, I've taken it. And she sort of is a little bit naughty in not continuing the treatment as it was prescribed. And it's very important for us to bring it in here because, yes, miracle healing can happen, but you shouldn't test fate by saying this is an alone treatment. So that is what comes forward from here onwards.
But within the expansion after that, she makes a couple of life changes, which removes her from the stress of the fast life of being an attorney, and also moves her out to Donga, and she goes and lives there to be more holistic. But yes, she stops the medication because she thinks, okay, I'm healed, I'm happy, I'm feeling good, blah blah blah. But the lifestyle changes also helped with the healing. The expansion did help internal, but obviously there's the other factors where she moves out, but her mother moves with her because her mother is there.
We have Leila, who's on target, who's going to help her find love. And we have a couple of scenes where we see the internet dating, and we see the one scene where she actually meets with this one guy in the restaurant, and that turns out completely topsy-turvy when Fico
it is a disaster.
challenges this guy. But you already can see that Fico is like, this woman is, quite interesting for me. And so Fico starts entering her life. And it's like, she doesn't think that Fico is really a good match. The mother doesn't think that Fico is a good match. And so, but then we have this interlude with Fico as we see it. And they are encouraged by her friends. They're encouraged by his friends, and with a lot of help from both sides, they eventually do get together, where we see them in the end having this beautiful wedding ceremony until the secret is revealed on the wedding night by the mother with a letter that she's written. And in that letter, she reveals her love story. The mother, Muko, reveals her love story with Sevgi's father, who happened not to be the man who was shot. Sevgi's father happened to be a rebel, and he was shot before she was married. And the man that she knew as her father married the mother so that she would be born in wedlock. And this is very key because we need to look at the time when this happened. If a mother had an illegitimate child, the mother would be banished from the community. It was something that you couldn't do. And so this man did the honorable thing in marrying Muko so that Sevgi would be coming into this world in an honorable relationship. But then we also now see why Muko could not grieve him, because she's already grieved the father of her child, the love of her life. But this upsets Sevgi, and she has a relapse. So, Ronél, what are your thoughts on this relapse?
So, with reading the letter, obviously she realizes that her whole life has been a lie. That her mother lied to her, and that she was keeping this big secret, and the lengths that her mother went to keep the secret, by even reporting Zaman and closing down his establishment, even going to Zaman and warning him to keep quiet about this secret. When poor Zaman is like, I don't know what your secret is, but whatever. And he allows the space. He allows it. And then Sevgi, when she reads the letter, it's like, I gave up my health, my life, my everything, and you lied to me about this man not being my father. And that's what puts her back into remission, is the total. And when her mother comes to see her, she's totally, the anger's back, the disbelief, everything is back, because how could you keep this from me after everything I've done to help you through this trauma? And that's what sets her back in.
Brings us a little bit to trying to understand Muko. So Muko loves her daughter as any mother would love her daughter, and we see that throughout. But there is more to it. She's dependent on Sevgi,
Yes.
because Sevgi has taken on the role of provider, and so she also does not want Sevgi to have a relationship, because then she would lose basically the person that she is dependent on, because Sevgi is all she's got left of her, the love of her life. So Sevgi basically has replaced him as the love of her life. So she's not just the daughter, she's also the love of her life. And then when any other man comes in, it's a case of competition between that man and herself. So there is a little bit of a weird dynamic going on here. And so when we see Muko doing all these things, that's really what she's fighting for. And at the birthday party where Sevgi celebrates her life, Muko realizes that her fight to keep Sevgi as her in a codependent situation is over.
Yes.
And that we see very clearly, and she's really upset about that, which is why that she then goes and closes Saman. But she also has to protect her secret with everything. So everything in Muko is to protect her secret. And then with the wedding, she realizes she can't keep it any longer, and she has to let it go. But there is a little scene before where Muko is so angry, and she says, I'm not coming to your wedding. I don't want to come to the wedding with this man. So she really is just mad about this wedding. And Sevgi says to her, you are my mother. And so this whole role of mother-daughter is set straight. You are my mother. I want you to be at my wedding as my mother. So it breaks the codependent situation as provider and mother, and she, and she now becomes the child. So there is an order that's being restored with that sentence, you are my mother. I want you to be at my wedding as my mother.
Yes.
So, so that is Sevgi then, and we left with that cliffhanger where Sevgi has the relapse, but she is then in hospital. And then we have the glimpse right at the end where the three girls are together.
They all
So we
sitting
know
in the
she's
field.
getting better again, because we do have that glimpse right at the end.
Yes. Season 2.
But what we have in this whole story with Sevgi, her wish is fulfilled. She does need a man who loves her and that she loves. And having done the expansion puts her on a different road, puts her onto a road of different experiences. So not all her experiences are, not everything is perfectly miraculous, but she has a road of different experiences. And
Yes.
her wish is fulfilled.